Welcome to Talks with Justin. My name is Justin Christen. I'm a father, I'm a personal trainer, I'm an online fitness coach, and I'm here to talk about calories with you. One of the, if not the most popular thing or question that I get asked or goal that I have from my clients or people that I interact with is they're looking to lose a little bit of weight. And when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to feeling better in your own clothes and your own skin, regardless of if you have 20 pounds to lose or if you have 5 pounds to lose, we all have that innate feeling that we want to just feel good about ourselves. And there's these competing ideas out there on how it is that you lose weight. So people think that you only need to do keto, or that you only need to be a vegan, or you have to do some ridiculous yo-yo diet or fad diet trend right now that works for you. And although if you find a diet, whether it's being vegan or if you find a diet like keto or something that you can sustain long term, they all have the same base underneath. And what is that base? Is you have to eat in a calorie deficit, which is a phrase that is commonly thrown out now, but you have to eat in a calorie deficit or below your maintenance calories. So regardless if you're 5'1" or 7'1", regardless if you're 120 pounds or 320 pounds, is we all have this base level of energy, which is calories, that our body burns. That's what's called our base metabolic rate. Based on your genetics, your height, your weight, your sex, but it's also based on your muscle mass. So your base metabolic rate, usually the bigger, taller and more heavy that you are, or more that you weigh, the higher your base metabolic rate is. So if you're a 5'1", 120 pound female, your base metabolic rate is going to be way lower than if somebody's 6'5", 320 pound male, just because of the genetic factors of what it takes to sustain their body as it is right now. And so your base metabolic rate will give you this baseline. So that's no movement. That's just basically chilling out on the couch. Your body is still working to keep you alive. Think about a car. So when you turn a car on, when you put the pedal to the metal, you're burning more gas. When you're just idling, you're not burning as much gas, but you're still burning gas. So when you're just idling there, so think about your body just idling, you're still using energy because you're always on. Your body's working to keep you alive. That's what your metabolism is your body's way of working for you to keep you alive, to sustain life. And then what you have, the next step up from there, is you also have what is called the thermic effect of food. So when you eat food, your body digests the food. So when you intake this food, it takes energy, which is calories, to break down this food. So foods that are more nutrient dense or foods that are more complex, that takes more work to break down, your body's going to burn more calories through that process. So when you hear people say, I'm boosting my metabolism by eating this food, what they're typically referring to is the process of when they're intaking the food and the type of food that they're taking, and as it processes it through their body, or as your body breaks it down, it takes more energy. So when we put foods in our mouth, even though we're not doing something such as physical activity, we are using energy to break that food down. So you have your base metabolic rate, you have your thermic effect of food, and then you have what is next called your NEAT, or your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So that's walking up the stairs to work, that's playing with your kid on the ground or outside, that's walking around the store, that's grocery shopping, that's mowing, that's anything that's not exercise related, so outside of the gym. And the reason that this is the big chunk of your calorie burn throughout the day is because when I'm just sitting here moving my arms even, or when I'm cooking breakfast, or when I'm doing something that requires me to move and use this energy, your body is working for you, using that energy, those calories, to help you sustain life. Because the more you move, the more you need to fuel your body. So all activity that's not exercise related would be considered your NEAT, or your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So that's your body's way of using calories or using energy to fuel your body, to help you so you can walk to work, so you can cook breakfast in the morning, so you can stand upright, so you're able to do these activities that aren't necessarily strenuous. Some NEAT can be a little bit strenuous, but for the most part, it's usually the sidebar actions that you wouldn't necessarily think that helps burn calories, such as walking up a set of stairs, but it is using probably the most amount of calories or burning the most amount of calories besides your basal metabolic rate. And that's also depending on what you do for work. So if you sit at a desk all day for 8 hours or 10 hours a day, you're not going to have as high of a NEAT as somebody like me who does personal training, who's in the gym, who's moving weights around, who's not actively working out during those times, but I'm moving around helping coach my clients, putting weights away, racking weights, just doing these things that fall in line with my line of work. And then the last way that you burn calories is through exercise. So it's called EAT, or exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is when you intentionally go to the gym, when you go for your workout, when you go for your run. And this typically is not going to be as high of a calorie burner as you may think. So when it goes on the amount of calories that you burn, when it goes on the amount of calories that you burn, your basal metabolic rate usually is the biggest chunk. And then you have your NEAT, which is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And then your activity thermogenesis and your exercise and your thermic effect of food, or the way that your body processes and breaks down those calories, are usually pretty close in the percentage of calories that are burned. So one way that you can up your exercise activity thermogenesis, or the way that you burn those calories, is you can do strenuous workouts, or you can challenge yourself in the gym. Cardio tends to have a higher amount of calorie burn just because you're constantly moving, compared to like a weightlifting when you take those rests or those breaks in between sets. And going back to how you can boost your basal metabolic rate, though, is by using exercise or weightlifting or strength training as a way to boost that base muscle that you have, because it takes more energy, it takes more calories, it takes more fuel to sustain that muscle mass. So when you have a higher percent of muscle compared to body fat, your body is working harder to sustain that muscle. And that's why strength training is actually better long-term for calorie burn than just straight cardio. But I will say that cardio is good not only for activity, or not only for calorie burn, but it's also good for just what it's calling your cardiovascular health. So don't just do one. It's a combination of everything. So it's a combination of the foods you eat. It's a combination of the muscle mass that you have on your body. It's a combination of what you do throughout the day besides just sit on the couch and watch Netflix. It's a conglomeration of everything that you do throughout the day in order to burn calories. So when I was younger, I used to think, or I had said a couple times, that I wish that I had my friend's body or my friend's metabolism, because he can eat whatever he wants and he's relatively lean and skinny. Now, genetics does play a factor into that, but what I didn't realize at the time was it was also what I was doing outside of the hours of school or school activities, because I wasn't as active as he was throughout. So he was actually outside playing basketball more. He was playing more sports throughout the entire week rather than just when it was allotted. And so when we sit here and we look at somebody and say, hey, I wish I had their metabolism, or I wish I had their genetics, is we have to realize that we can't take somebody else's genetics, but what we can do is what is best for us. And we can include more activity throughout our day. We can eat the right foods. We can eat the more whole grains, and we can eat the higher protein diet, because what that does is it causes you to use more energy, or those calories, to break that food down. And we can make those choices to use the stairs rather than taking the elevator. We can make the choice to go mow the lawn rather than hire it out. We can make those choices each and every day to help make our lives, or our weight loss journey, if that's what you want to call it, we can make that more sustainable by adding in these extra added benefits that add up over the course of a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 years. Do that where you add more activity into your day, not necessarily going to the gym for 4 hours, but just the small things, cleaning up a little bit more, doing the things that require your body to burn a little bit more calories and use that energy, and then balance that out with the amount of calories that you put in your body, which means being in a calorie deficit is tracking your calories, because if your maintenance is right here, you have to know that you're eating below. So rather than just guessing and eating a bowl of ice cream and watching Netflix, actively participating in your weight loss by keeping track of what you're doing. Some people think that it might be a little overbearing, but Ask yourself, if you've been wanting to lose weight for the last 6 months, 2 years, and nothing ever works for you. I've heard that. I've said that for me. But nothing ever works. What are you actively doing to change your habits? What are you actively doing to try to make things better? And the answer isn't these fad diets. The answer isn't something that you can sustain for 2 weeks. The answer is something that you can sustain for the rest of your life. It's a lifestyle change. I know that's overused, but it's a lifestyle change. So how are you changing your lifestyle rather than when the going gets tough, you just go get fast food rather than wait to get home and cook those chicken strips or those chicken breasts that you have in the fridge? It's in those micro moments that we have to make those decisions to say, this is what I want. I want this weight loss. I have felt unhappy for the last 5 years because I'm 50 pounds overweight. And that's where I come in, is I can help you with that. I can help change that mindset. I can help you keep track for yourself. I can be there to motivate you, to hold you accountable, to cheer you on, to let you know that in those tough moments that you're not alone. Because I have those tough moments. Every single one of my clients have those tough moments. It's about building that relationship with you though, and you trusting me and you trusting yourself in the process to know that we can make it work, to get those negative thoughts out of our head of, I've always been fat, so I always will be fat. If you feel like that, I'm sorry, because I felt like that at one point, and it stinks. But I'm telling you that there is a path forward. Send me an email, Justin@philosophical.com. This has been Talks with Justin.